on, guys? John Lee here with another awesome video. So I found this really cool Joe Rogan clip, and I just wanted to share it with you guys. And it's titled, "How Much Does the Media Protect Their Friends?" And I think it's a really important video and important to see basically what I was recently talking about, with censorship and your employer and things like that in this nature. So without any further ado, let's jump right in. Don't forget, like and subscribe and ring the bell for notifications.
Human beings work inside corporate systems, and these systems have goals, and everyone's working together, and there's a hierarchy of people, and you're not allowed to step out of line. We develop a way of thinking that is almost like, it's a tribal way, and it's kind of a religious way. And I'm curious to know how you guys feel about your ability to be completely independent outside of that, and how that's affected the way you think about things. Because for me, personally,
it's really affected me because I can't make a clear separation of my employment time at work and my, freedom of expression outside of work without, my employer having something to fucking say about it. That's what just got me fired.
Like having all these conversations with so many different people about so many different subjects, I'm a different person.
Yes.
Like, I'm a completely different person. It's shaped me so. It's like the most bombarding, overwhelming education that it's like very difficult to process. But if you're in a corporate environment, it's very hard to think independently. It really is. You don't have the time. You don't have the notion.
You can think independently if you're an independent thinker. Most professionals, that have to manage their own time are independent thinkers. We aren't allowed the ability to express ourselves outside of our employment.
You definitely don't benefit from it.
You don't have the incentive. That's
if you speak out, you're fucking penalized. You can lose your job. Just things that aren't even like out of line. Like, I remember there's a hockey guy. He was a hockey commentator, and he said that all lives matter, and he got fired. Holy shit!
Funny.
What an egregious misstep.
Joe,
all lives matter.
I got my start in media on MSNBC.
Yes, I know.
So, am I a different person from those days? God, I certainly hope so.
That's why I wanted to bring it up to you guys.
I go back and look at it, and some of it I watch and I'm proud of. I focus on a lot of the same issues I do, like labor and economic inequality, economics, things that I really care a lot about, especially on foreign policy. Though some of that stuff.
You know what I really care a lot about? Freedom of expression and the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That's pretty much it.
I go back and watch and I'm like, oh my God, this is so cringe. And I just bought into the corporate lie. Now, ultimately, shortly before I was let go, I did a monologue when Hillary Clinton was building up to run for president. It was back in 2014, so this was early on. And I did this whole thing that was like, she's sold out to Wall Street. People are going to hate this lady. She's like the terrible candidate for the moment. Please don't run. And I was allowed to say it, right?
Is it me, or does this lady smile while she's talking like this?
I delivered my thing. I did it exactly how I wanted to do it. Afterwards, I get pulled into an office, and great monologue, everything's fine, but next time you do any commentary on Hillary Clinton, it has to get approved by the president of the network. Yeah. And think about, I would love to say that I did further Hillary Clinton commentary, there's no doubt about it, but I would love to say that didn't affect me and I was just there to be a truth teller. But listen, I'm a human being. I'm sure I responded to the incentives in that system of like, I don't want to get in trouble with the boss.
For sure. Yeah.
And that's the way that it works. That's a very blatant example, but oftentimes people know where the boundaries are. They know what they're allowed to say, and so they don't need that direct intervention of censorship. And also, by the way, these people, most of them in cable news, they're not really there because they're talented. They're there because they're reliable purveyors of whatever it is that network wants to purvey. So that's ultimately why they get the job, and they understand the parameters of the task.
Well, there's just a thing that happens when you're connected with someone. If you're connected financially, if you're connected in a friendship.
Fucking shit's brutal, man. that was my, you know, way to fucking pay my bills and my mortgage and provide for my family.
That's why cronyism works.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Absolutely.
They weasel their way in. And look, I can give you examples of it in my own life.
Yeah.
Like, if anybody ever comes to me with any kind of criticism of Dana White, and I'm like, you're going to the wrong guy. Like, that guy's my brother. I'll never say a bad thing about him. If I didn't know him, if he was some asshole that lived in some other country, I would probably talk shit about him like I talk shit about everything. But I love that guy to death, and I'll never say a bad word about him. So it's like, if you're coming to me for objective journalism about one of my friends, you know, you got the wrong person.
Yeah, but you're open about it, right?
Yeah.
That's the most important
key.
part.
You got the wrong person. I won't lie, but I won't ever say anything negative about my friends. It's just like, I don't think that's necessary. And that's something that happens when you get a shit ton of money involved, and you get relationships, and you're drinking scotch together at a private club, and you're discussing the advertising revenue, and we'd like to donate a bunch of money to CNN. We'd like to figure out a way that we can work together. You know, hey, I'm a fucking Captain Billionaire, and I want to donate all this money to all these people that own media organizations. And I would, you know, I'd like to be your friend.
That's it.
That's
That's fine.
be your friend.
Yeah, they act like they want to be your fucking friend until you see firsthand that they ain't got your fucking back.
It's cool, right? Who doesn't
It's
want to
hard
go
to
to fun
resist.
parties?
It's
And-
just friends. We're friends.
Yeah, it's all part of a system. And
We're
that's where,
fishing.
this is the other thing, actually, I was hoping to bring up, is I don't think people understand that cable is a fake business model. So, for example, like we talk a lot about the failing ratings. The key demo numbers on all three of these channels is a joke. I always like to say, like, Chris and I would be starving in a ditch if we were getting the same numbers as these people. So how do they survive? It's because they're part of something called the cable bundle. And so, like, when you buy cable, like Cox Communications or whatever, they pay, or Comcast, for example, they pay CNN and MSNBC and Fox to be a part of the bundle. The vast majority of the profit of these cable channels comes from the bundle. So CNN made $1 billion in profit just last year, all propped up by the bundle, because they're getting paid just to exist. I mean, can you imagine if we were getting paid to exist, not based upon our actual numbers? Like,
Yeah.
you can actually reach less people and make more money. And so it's all part of this fake system, but I mean, the benefit is that with the rise of independent media, more and more advertisers are waking up. The less eyeballs, the less of an incentive for the bundle to actually pay them to be a part of it. And that's why I was actually really excited by Amazon striking that deal with the NFL, because I'm like, yes, get the rights away from these people, because that is what props up all kinds of bullshit that we don't have, like a small d democratic input with our eyeballs on CNN or any of these places. They can exist just fine without us. Like, to really kill them, we have to get away from live news on TV. That's the number one thing still propping them up today.
Well, the only way to fucking make that fucking happen is to take the fucking power away from these corporate fucking jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of a zombie business model. But I will tell you, I mean, I have a lot of optimism, certainly about what we're doing, about the response to what we're doing, about the independent media ecosystem. But you and I were talking the other day, Joe, about, I do think it's a dangerous moment for people. And one thing we've been covering a lot on the show is you have a kind of breakdown in previous national stories and narratives, and people are very like story driven. You know, you have a breakdown in, I'm not a religious person, so this is like not my bag, but you have a breakdown in religion. So some of the stories that have kind of like held the country together and that people helped use to make sense of their life, or even the story about the American dream. A lot of these things are kind of breaking down. Now that's a good thing, because it creates a possibility for a new, more beneficial story. But in the meantime, it is just a like heyday for con artists and charlatans and, you know, people who are willing to sell a narrative to, you know, a lot of folks who feel kind of lost, kind of adrift, and don't like existing in that chaos. So it's like, you know, whether they're being scammed by like SBF or this like Congressman George Santos who like made up every aspect of his
That
life.
guy's amazing.
So anyways, this is basically how much does the media protect their friends really fucking tight. And where are we going with independent media, and where do we draw the line, and how safe are we? Is there any protection from our employers harassing us through our social media, censoring us, and really infringing on our constitutional rights? I'm John Lee. Hit the like and subscribe. I'm on to the next one. You want to know what I think of all this bullshit? I think that these big corporate companies are trying to strong arm the liberties and freedoms of individuals, and this whole administration and big tech has been trying to basically just censor everybody that tries to run a narrative that's other than theirs. If there's accountability involved, they don't want to be called out publicly. But when you try to call them out privately, you're just swept under the rug. Nothing ever happens. There is no accountability. And so that's where I'm at on it. I don't have any respect for big corporate or big tech companies that aren't willing to have a honest, factual, truthful, honest conversation with some integrity and accountability. It's the only way you're going to establish or build any trust, is to have transparency.